Now, the UN Security Council should include the impact of climate change on international security in its remit. That's according to a report by former United Nations conflict mediation specialist. Now, the report from a conflict resolution think tank says climate change will fuel an increase in conflict across the Middle East and North Africa region. Now, the report comes at a time of heightened insecurity across the region, and while climate change is contributing to an extended drought across vast swathes of Africa, the new Somali president warned of the dangers as he was sworn into power this week.
The eastern Horn of Africa is facing a severe drought that is threatening the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, and Somalia is vulnerable to that drought, and there are fears that some areas might already be facing famine.
Well, joining me now is Jamal Benomar. He's chair of the International Centre for Dialogue Initiatives, who produced the report, and a former UN special envoy to Yemen. Thanks so much for joining us today. Can you just explain how climate change is fueling conflict across the region?
In this report, we explained that the destructive weather event such as heat wave, massive wildfires, the glacial melting and rising sea levels result in water and food shortages, and this devastate ecosystems. So the subsequent socio-economic shocks and loss of livelihoods are driving climate migration and massive mobility of people in various parts of Africa and the Middle East. And this is driving competition over scarce resources and competition over water rights and water management. And the combination of all this is fueling more conflict in a region that is already prone to conflicts. So this is what we've noticed in the Sahel region and also in North Africa and the Middle East. The link between climate change and conflict has been very well established. It's time for the United Nations, regional organizations to take this into consideration and address these issues head on.
So what's the one thing you would like to see as a result of your report?
First, the Security Council should include the impact of climate change on international security as part of its primary responsibility for the maintenance of peace and security. But there is deadlock in the Security Council. There have been an attempt to include these issues, but there has been opposition from Russia, China, India, when it was member of the Security Council. But here, the General Assembly, the main deliberative body of the United Nations, should take responsibility, appoint an envoy dealing with climate change and international security who could brief periodically the Security Council and also lead the UN system effort in this area. The UN system is huge, but it's fragmented. But we want to see more than that. I think the Trusteeship Council, one of the main bodies of the United Nations, fulfilled its task of decolonization. I think now, it can be transformed into one main body, that can be the clearinghouse for information on carbon sequestration and environmental protection, restoration, effort around the world, and provide an overview of public and private sector effort to restore the balance of the natural world in trust for future generations. So transforming the Trusteeship Council into one main body that deals with these issues, I think it's something that is worth considering. But also we think that not only the UN, but the regional organizations will need to develop mechanisms to detect the effect of climate change and also develop strategies for combating the new phenomena that we see now, which is the prospect of more conflict in Africa and the Middle East.
OK, Jamal Benomar, the chair of the International Centre for Dialogue Initiatives, thank you so much for joining us on The Climate Show. Well, that's all for us today. Back to you, Kimberly.